if I generalize about something, it'll be about something that's inconsequential. I do not generalize about things that affect performance or real world results in some way. And those are the things I'm a stickler about. I don't care if it has a carbine butt plate, and therefore it's a carbine versus it has a rifle butt plate, therefore it's a rifle. Morning, folks. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning, and my beautiful wife, Kim, is filming on her iPhone. And it's not very often that I will do a video like this with a page full of notes. But if I don't have notes on this, I'm going to forget a lot of points that need to be made. And, I would say 95% of the videos I do, I have no notes. Which means that 95% of the videos I do, I either misspeak about something or leave something out or mention something only partially. And so, have some grace and some patience with me on that. Kim and I never set out to be professional videographers. We want you to have good information, reliable information, but I do leave parts out, and I misspeak. I got a message this morning from some gunsmith somewhere saying, I called a rifle a carbine. Okay, well, there's 5 different reasons carbines are carbines and that rifles are rifles. And if I generalize about something, it'll be about something that's inconsequential. I do not generalize about things that affect performance or real world results in some way. And those are the things I'm a stickler about. I don't care if it has a carbine butt plate, and therefore it's a carbine versus it has a rifle butt plate, therefore it's a rifle. For me, the distinction has usually been barrel length, which is another distinction. And that one matters. Anyway, this video is about something that it's a shame in America I need to be discussing. I'm not even going to tell you what it's about. You're going to figure it out as I go. We're filming in Idaho, and the last truck I bought, the last couple trucks I bought in Idaho. And it's crazy that you can spend $100,000 on a truck post-COVID. That's nuts. But it's a reality that we're facing with all the inflation that happened during that whole post-COVID Biden era, administration.
Shit show.
Yeah, shit show is an understatement of a magnitude of proportion that I can't even put a number on. Okay, so if I go down here and buy a new truck, in Idaho, I believe the sales tax percentage is 6%. If I go down here and buy, an $85,000 truck, which is very easy to do, I'm going to pay $5,000 in sales tax. Then, by law, I am mandated to license and register that truck. Those are 2 more taxes right there. The registration and license fee are a tax. Then I drive to the gas station to fuel this new baby up. And of the $3.50 or $4 a gallon I would pay right now, are you folks aware that 50 cents a gallon roughly is hidden excise tax? Part of that is federal highway tax. Part of it is state tax. And it varies. The percentage that you'll pay varies from state to state. But federal's across the board, I believe, in all 50 states. So 50 cents a gallon in Idaho is what I pay. So if I put 30 gallons of fuel in it, what's that, $15 of tax every time I fill the damn tank. Then I'm mandated by law to buy insurance, which I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying, are you folks aware that in most states, there's a hidden excise tax in your car insurance? They make it a law, you have to have it, and then they tax it. I mean, okay. Then I'm gonna drive it home and I'm gonna park it in my driveway, which I pay property tax on. And it's no small amount. In Idaho, the property tax on this house and this piece of property was $6,000 until 2 years ago. Now it's $8,000 a year. And that's because, and Idaho's horrible. You think Idaho's a free state? Think again. We had a school levy that came up that the voters voted down 3 times in a row because the voters didn't want their property tax going up. So you know what the state of Idaho did? The state of Idaho said, well, you turned it down 3 times in a row, you voted it down, so now we're just going to impose it on your property tax because we're going to do that by virtue of a statute in Idaho where we can say it's a safety issue in your high school. Therefore, we're just going to pass the levy on our own regardless of what the voters want.
And we have no children in school anymore. Ours are all adults.
Well, yeah.
That's a whole nother issue.
Our children were long ago out of school, so I'm not sure that, which is a separate issue, but it's an important issue. What are Kim and I doing paying for schools right now? We've paid for them our entire adult lives. So why are we doing it now? At retirement age. But so Idaho just imposes this, even though it goes against the will of the voters. You think you live in a free state in Idaho? Do you? So now we're paying $8,000 a year property tax on this property. So now I park that truck in a driveway that I'm paying property tax on. And then I buy homeowners insurance to insure my home. Oh, that's not mandated by law, at least, like the car insurance is, but are you aware of the fact there's a hidden excise tax in your homeowner's insurance? Isn't that great? And what I'm showing you here is that no matter what you do, if you lift your little finger, you're going to pay a tax for it. So,
isn't there a rubber tax as well?
Well, I'm headed there. Mm-hmm. So if you are fortunate enough to own that truck long enough to wear the tires out, you're going to go put new tires on it. Did you know there's a federal rubber tax hidden in the price of your tires? You wonder why everything's so expensive. You wonder why you do nothing but work to pay bills. And an excise tax is nothing more than a hidden tax. It's a tax that either the seller of the product or generally the manufacturer of the product has to pay to the government that's just included in the price, so you stupid, dumb Americans don't know that you're paying it. I mean, this is the furthest thing from freedom that, it wouldn't be any different if they just came out and took it from you, which they also do that. Try not paying your taxes and watch what happens to your bank account. They'll just levy it. So now let's say that I want to put a gun in my truck, and all my trucks have 2 or 3, 4 guns in them. Where I live, I keep a rifle in my truck for various uses. Some of them are for shooting varmints. Some of them are for self-defense against humans. Some of them are for big 4-legged varmints, like if I end up in a campsite somewhere and there's a marauding bear mauling somebody, I generally want a rifle, that's very capable bear stopper. So I have guns for different reasons. Did you folks know, hidden in the price of all guns and all ammunition? So while you're busy bitching about how much ammo and guns cost, there's a hidden excise tax. It's 11%. Now, I know the exact details on this one, because every quarter I have to pay it. So if you buy $100 purchase of ammunition, it actually really, I charged you $89. The government charged you $11. It's an 11% tax. And it's not just on guns and ammo, it's on archery equipment, it's on fishing gear, and I don't know what else. I haven't looked into it that deeply, but I know it's on sporting goods products. It's called the Robertson-Pittman or Pittman-Robertson Act. It was passed in the 1970s or 80s, I believe, and it was to fund, get this, it's to fund the Endangered Species Act. So all you sportsmen that are being damaged by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and their regulations, you're funding them to damage you. It's your money, and they use it to penalize you. They use it to force invasive species on you, like the wolf reintroduction was no such thing. There was a wolf subspecies called the Rocky Mountain wolf. And they were native here, and they were here. I know, I've seen them over the years because I spend a lot of time in actual remote wilderness. Well, the Endangered Species Act said you couldn't reintroduce an animal that wasn't native to the area. So U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service went in and deleted the subspecies of the Rocky Mountain wolf so they could bring an invasive species, which was the Canadian gray wolf, a much larger wolf, and dump them in here on you. They broke their own laws. They made it legal, but they did it illegally. And so now the Rocky Mountain wolf no longer exists. The bigger Canadian grays have either killed them or interbred with them, and they don't exist anymore. So what I'm trying to show you is there's a tax on everything, and the government that is taxing you is using those tax funds against you to take your freedoms away and to break their own laws, which is the case with the wolf reintroduction. And that's just a small sampling. I was involved in all that when it occurred, living right here outside Salmon, Idaho, so I'm real familiar with it. And I can also tell you that the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, in their environmental impact statement, lied. I used to have a copy of the original environmental impact statement that they put before Congress to get funding for this wolf dumping program. Congress refused them, by the way, so they just stole the money right out of that Pittman-Robertson tax fund. From the excise taxes on your guns. They just took the money and did it anyway. You know, why would we leave the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service in charge of money, and they were in charge of that Pittman-Robertson Act money, so that they can use it any way they want, so that they can bribe states with it? Because that's how they got the wolves in here. They got Fish and Game Director Connolly to sign a permit to bring wolves in here by threatening to withhold the Pittman-Robertson's funds. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service was giving Idaho Fish and Game at the time around $53 or $54 million a year. I think it's more now. And they just said, if you don't sign the wolf permit, we'll withhold those funds. Not only that, they offered Director Connolly all kinds of future positions that were federal and in other states so that he could retire with a pension of $500,000 or more a year, which is also your money. Never mind that if you want to take that truck hunting now, you got to go buy a hunting license and tags. That's a tax, folks. That money goes directly to the government. So I suppose...
Well, to hike and camp on these lands, you're paying a permit, which didn't used to be there.
Yeah. Oh, there's more. There's Forest Service permits. You got to buy permits to cut dead trees. They're dead anyway, and collect your own firewood. You got to drive up there and do it with, like I said, fuel that you're being taxed on. Never mind you got taxed on the vehicle. Never mind you're taxed on the insurance. Never mind. You are taxed every way there is. And if they could find a way to tax you on lung capacity for their, green carbon tax, they would. And by the way, that was discussed in Congress at one time, taxing people for the air they breathe. I'm not joking. It never got implemented into law, but it was part of a green tax discussion. Folks, America is the home of the free and the land of the brave. We are neither free nor are we brave. We are slaves, and we're too cowardly to do anything about it. And this is why I love Donald Trump. And I get people complaining about him all the time when I say how much I love what he's doing. Let me point something out to you folks. Incrementally, he's the biggest incremental improvement I've seen in a president in my lifetime.
And you're old.
Yeah, and I'm ancient. I mean, I was around when they signed the Declaration of Independence. I mean, so this corruption is so deep. They didn't start federal income tax until 1913, when the Federal Reserve Act was passed, which was like 1914, which is the biggest fraud ever perpetrated not only on this country but on the entire world, where now they can make money with no gold backing it up. They can just print all the money they want, do whatever they want, overspend it, and bill your grandchildren for it. I mean, folks, if you ever wondered why there's a Second Amendment, it was always about stopping tyranny. That's what it was about. Stopping tyranny. It wasn't about hunting, unless you're talking about hunting those that are enforcing tyranny on us. So all I can tell you, folks, is that we are not free. You're having every dollar sucked out of you by a governmental tax, be it state or be it federal.
That's unconstitutional.
Oh, well, it's completely there's a reason why the Federal Reserve Act of 1914 didn't happen till 1914. It's unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional to tax you federally, to tax individuals federally. But it's been going on well over 100 years. We haven't done anything about it. And now you're being hit with a tax if you open your left eye before you open your right eye. And then when you happen to open them both, I'm telling you, there's going to be a tax on that down the road. That's how ridiculous this is. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's state and federal taxes on eye care. I know that before the Obamacare baloney, which was the entire thing was a lie, it was put in place just to empower the government. I know there were taxes, federal taxes on health insurance. If you go and stay at a hotel, if I drive this new truck of mine that I bought, that I paid all this tax to do everything I do with it, you drive it to a hotel and check in for the night, you'll pay a city and state tax depending on where you stay. It's included in the bill. Folks, we need to stop this baloney. It's up to us to stop it. We're just puppets, and those of us that aren't puppets are scared puppets. We're afraid to step up and do anything, which is why I'm a huge believer in noncompliance. Noncompliance is nonviolent until the government pushes the issue with violence, which opens the door to violence.
Ergo Waco and many other historical events that occurred.
Ruby Ridge. There was nothing violent about anything Randy Weaver was doing on Ruby Ridge until the feds came there, killed his 14-year-old boy, shot him in the back, and then killed his wife, shot her in the head.
And first, before all that, set him up in order to make him look bad to begin with.
Well, they had to set him up. They were mad at him because he wouldn't go along with a sting that they were trying to pull on some white supremacist groups that Randy Weaver was close to. So the ATF set him up on gun charges. Folks, we got to stop this crap. Waco was the same deal.
Well, we were just watching the Black Hawk Down last night. I mean, the fact that the
In
United
Mogadishu.
States
Yes.
intervenes in other countries is unbelievable. And our people are harmed, and we are harmed, and the money put out. And Trump is anti-war. Let's all
For a
remember
very
that.
good reason. Wars,
Know your history, folks. Know your history.
wars fund government and their cronies. Now, I'm not saying that there's not a time you may have to go to war righteously, and the argument could be made for that for World War II. You couldn't make that argument for the rest of the wars. But yeah, we watched a series on Black Hawk Down in Mogadishu, Somalia last night. And that was a peacekeeping mission that we were on. Peacekeeping mission.
They didn't want us there.
And yeah, well, they didn't want us there. And so we went in and killed thousands and thousands and thousands of Somalians on this peacekeeping mission. You know, we need to limit government, folks. And it's up to us to do it.
And it's constitutional for us to do it.
Well, I'm all about sticking within the Constitution. Anything outside the Constitution technically becomes illegal. But you're too much of a coward to do anything about it, people. And this needs to end. We need to have a righteous, honest, transparent government that's very limited in its scope, which is exactly what the Constitution calls for. So,
For the people, of the people, by the people.
yeah.
That's us, folks.
And like I keep going back to home of the free, land of the brave. What a bunch of hogwash BS that is. We are not brave, and therefore we are not free. And the only thing that's going to bring freedom back is your bravery enough to stand up and do something about it. I love Ted Nugent. You know, he's all about non-compliance. Ted and I have had several personal, private discussions about it, and we're 100% in agreement. Stop complying. If 10% of the people in this country stop complying,
With illegal, unconstitutional laws and actions of
Yeah.
our government.
stop complying. If 10% of us went into non-compliance, they couldn't enforce it. If 20% of us went into non-compliance, they would come to us begging for us to help reestablish a government. That's all it would take, because we'd bankrupt them overnight. So folks, Donald Trump is doing what he can. That guy's paid more unfair, illegal, dishonest taxation than anybody I personally know. And he's been there. He'll tell you that in his past as a developer in big cities, he's bribed politicians with campaign donations. He'll tell you that. You know, he knows the system and how corrupt it is, which is why he's fighting against it. And he's not going to be perfect. And if you hold out for some perfect politician, you're going to be doing nothing but holding out your whole life.
And he's not going to get it done tomorrow. You know,
Well-
there's a lot of hoops to jump through. He's got a lot of controversy. He's got a lot of people that are fighting him. It's not easy.
If you go back to the 1914, which was the biggest unconstitutional law ever passed, the Federal Reserve Act, where they took us off the gold standard and started taxing income tax on individuals, he's got 111 years of corruption to reverse in a 4-year term. He's not going to get it done. He can take a stab at the biggest chunks of it.
Well, and
you can
Congress is fighting him every step of the way.
Oh, yeah. And you can find all the reasons you want to fault the man. I'm telling you, he's doing the right things as he can within the limitations on the presidency of the United States. There's a lot of limitations on him that are constitutional also. So, folks, this little video is about us. It's about what cowards we are, and it's about how unfree we are as a result of our cowardice. I'm going to end here with a God bless you all, and we'll see you on the next video.